That was so loud, right? Are we good? We're good? We're rolling. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to episode one of what should we call it? Toolan's Truth. I like that. Simple. Let's do it. Toolan's Truth. And I'm creating this, I guess, series, if you want to call it that, out of I just felt like doing it. I felt like doing it for me and I felt like doing it for you. Because I love helping people and there was something that compelled me to do this to help people and to I guess to start discourse, start conversations, get people on, learn from people, hear from you guys, interact with you guys, provide value. And then I think what will surprise me is probably the amount that I learn about myself as I'm talking to you guys. But just to provide value, some value, just be of some value, you know? So, I don't know, I have no plan for what to talk about, but something that is something that's sort of playing on my mind is identity at the moment. I feel like I'm currently in sort of a transitional stage, right? Not the literal transitional stage, but I'm I guess I'm turning into a man at 21. You know, ambitions are coming up and I'm wanting to tweak certain parts of myself in order to achieve goals, in order to take that next step in my life to attain financial freedom, you know, provide for my family, so on and so forth. And kind of in this process, I've discovered a lot that I want to share with you and that I want to bounce off you, right? And kind of where it's originated is because I've attempted to become this person. Attempted to become this disciplined person that's, you know, making all this money. And I keep falling to old habits. And it's so common. And you're probably sitting on the other end of the camera thinking the exact same thing. You feel stuck. I feel stuck in a world with so many distractions. You know, you can have so many hits of dopamine at your fingertips. It's never been easier to be distracted from your true purpose, right? And from that place of being stuck, I've assessed what is the best way to get out of this, right? So what I've been doing is beat yourself up. You know, if I don't do the work for the week, I'll beat myself up. And then the next week, I'll probably do even less work because I beat myself up. I feel crap about myself. And then from there, it's this sort of cycle that spirals. And that's kind of what we've been doing. So I've had to change things up. And what I've come to the conclusion of for myself is that your identity dictates the success or failure of your life. Your identity dictates the success or failure of your life, right? And what I mean by identity is the stories that you've been told or you tell yourself, and they're just stories that make up you. These stories will have been fulfilled and reinforced with evidence over the years and probably maybe even gotten stronger over the years with that evidence being reinforced, but they're just stories. And I think that was step one and is step one to me making that transition from being somebody that maybe I'm not necessarily proud of to being somebody that I am proud of. Is to understand that I am falling to these levels. I am not completing the work that I need to do. I am not eating the right foods that I need to eat. I'm not going to the gym enough times. I'm not putting myself in the spaces I need to be put into. I'm not doing the work that needs to be done. I'm making the wrong decisions because of the stories that I tell myself because of my identity. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I don't think that's talked about enough. I don't. I see so many people on a day-to-day basis who hate their life, who aren't successful, who are unhappy with their current situation, but they're stuck and they don't know how to get out of that cycle. And it's my personal belief that the first step to getting out of that cycle is similar to when you're playing a video game, is to understand the controls. You can't win a game of FIFA if you don't know what the pass button is. You can't win this game of life if you don't know your limiting beliefs or your limiting stories, which is what I like to call them. And I think that's the sort of work that I'm doing at the moment. I don't like saying work because it sounds pretty like heebie-jeebie, but I feel like that's step one. And once you've assessed that, what am I going to do next? Substitute. I guess I'm substituting at the moment. I'm substituting these old limiting beliefs for new ones. New positive beliefs. Sounds really simple. And it is simple, but it's hard. And I think the key thing to do is to start small. Make yourself a micro promise tomorrow that proves contrary to a limiting belief that you have. Today mine was this. Just make one video. And you don't even want to know how long this has taken me to do. One video. It's not that hard. But it provides evidence contrary to the belief that I have about myself that I'm lazy. That's one tangible thing that I can tick off and say for the week I've done. That's one piece of evidence. You know, you're not who you say you are. You're exactly you're exactly what you do. You're exactly what you do. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. But you need to recognize it as well. Because I will have previously have done a week great work. But then on the Friday, I might have skipped a Zoom call. Not sent that email. And I beat myself up. And then I feel crap. And then I seek to cheat dopamine. Going out with my mates, drinking, which has its time and place, absolutely. But it's dependent on why you do it. But that's a completely different tangent. And then you seek these things and then you go even lower. Because that's how dopamine works. When you spike, it doesn't bring you back down to equilibrium. It brings you back below base level to a disproportionate level to what it spiked you up on. And you feel crap about yourself. And then on Monday rolls around, you're out of sync, you're out of habit, just because on that Friday, you slipped ever so slightly. And you beat yourself up. And that's kind of being vulnerable with you guys. That's the cycle that I followed. Because I didn't have a strong enough foundation. Because of the limiting beliefs that I had. If I had a limiting belief, or if I had a belief that I wasn't lazy, and I made that mistake on that Friday of not doing that work, it's a different story. It's a different story. So that's kind of the process that I'm in right now. And I think that's something that everyone should do. But we don't. Because we're so close to the action. We're so close to our emotions. We're so close to our day-to-day stuff. We're so here that we can't zoom back and actually reassess and relay down the foundations to create the life that we want. We're impatient. We rush to it. Oh, if I just do it, it's not going to sustain. You have to change the way that you think about yourself. You have to change the stories that you have about yourself. And that's kind of the process that I'm in. Because I guess it's one of the, I was going to say it's the only way to do it, but, there's some people that get lucky and they're that way inclined and they have that discipline to just do and forget the foundations and just storm through. But I guess another reason that I'm compelled to do this video is because in this process of trying to understand more about myself and why people are successful, why people aren't successful, why people are happy, why people are unhappy, I've watched more than I've ever watched in my life. I've surrounded myself with so many successful people, and there's a lot of unsuccessful people, unhappy people in my life as well, and I've watched. And it fascinates me that the only difference between the successful people and the unsuccessful people is the stories that they tell themselves, which inevitably dictates their world perspective, the lens that they view life. It's how they view themselves. How you view yourself is everything. How you view yourself is the way you treat other people. Your internal state is just a complete and utter direct reflection of everything external. We project and we create. And that is fascinating to me. Your entire existence on this planet, in my belief, comes down to your identity. Because two identical things can happen to two very different people that perceive themselves very differently. And talking to a lot of successful people, I'm finding this lesson out, that those two identical situations to two very different people can have vastly different effects. We all know this. Like, two people can suffer very, very traumatic experiences, but one person will go on to use it as the biggest moment, pivotal, fueling moment in their life, and the other person, it'll destroy them. But why? Why? And it's my view and my perspective that the differentiating factor is the way that they perceive themselves. If you perceive yourself as someone that's strong, that can come back from failure, that uses these setbacks to propel themselves, you're going to bounce. If you view yourself as a loser and it happens to you, it just confirms that you're a loser and you spiral even further. But why aren't we talking about this a bit more? Why is everything so results orientated in this life? Like, why is everything about doing, but not taking a step back and actually trying to figure out what's going on in here and why is it creating this? And I'm not victim to it, but I'm culpable to that mentality as well. I'd say for a long time I've wanted to change my discipline, and I've only just started to change my strategy to redefining my identity. It should be talked about more. So to substitute, start small, build that evidence, keep it tangible, be intentional, visualize. And I guess what will kind of propel you along the way in aiding you with this substitution is your why. Which again, for me, kind of reiterates the importance of having that foundation and understanding why you're doing something. Why are you substituting this? And again, it comes back to that point. We want something, or we don't know we want something, but we want to change. But we don't spend time creating the infrastructure and the foundations to be that person that changes. We just are desperately grasping onto doing this thing sporadically here. Or I am myself. I'm speaking for myself. And when you come to think of it, it's silly. If you don't know your why for creating this new identity, then what's the point in doing it? What's going to keep spurring you on? Know your why. Don't know. It's interesting. And I say these words to myself as I say them to you as well. You know, it's advice that I need to take, and it's easier said than done. But it's the process I'm currently in. It's my chair. I'm not doing anything else. It's where I'm at. But it's very important that you do that work. So I'll set you a task. You're watching this video, you don't have to do any writing, you don't have to do anything. Just think about one limiting belief that is preventing you from attaining or achieving something or being somebody that you want to be. Write it down. And then tonight, one micro promise that is so simple, so small, that you know you cannot mess up on this, that provides evidence to the contrary of that limiting belief. Just start with that. And you'll be surprised at how good that actually feels. And then from there, just understand that it's a story. We're yet to get to the stage where I muck up and miss a day. But I think when we do, we'll be back on the camera and we'll be journaling it. But I think a word of advice for future me, future you, it's going to happen at some point. Just don't beat yourself up with a stick. It's a fascinating thing that we have all just taken on this idea that beating yourself up, self-hatred, is the best motivator to action. And it is for some very, very select people, you know, your David Goggins. But for your average Joe, myself included, I think that there has to be a bit more compassion to yourself, which is a difficult skill to practice because our makeup, the way evolution has sort of gifted us these brains, is that we're negative. But I think the way that society conditions us as well, you know, from very young age, if you're naughty, notice that. School, detention. So why would we not treat ourselves the same way? But it doesn't work. And probably teachers watching this will know. For the majority, you'd be better off fighting that fire with probably water instead of fire. I saw a beautiful TikTok the other day. There was this guy in the road on something, shouting and screaming at cars, and this guy ran his bike next to him. He was recording. He had some sort of like GoPro on, and he just starts asking the guy questions midway through his rage, like midway through, and the guy's kind of disarmed a little bit. He carries on swearing this, that, the other, and eventually, you know, he's asking him these questions. He's like, bro, come off the road, you know? He comes off the road. And he just asks him, what's wrong, man? And he's like, yeah, my brother died, like, F this, F that, like, it's awful, yada, yada, yada. And he's just like, bro, let me just pray for you, man. Let me just pray for you. I'm here. And he hugs him, and you could just see 2-3 minutes before that, he was screaming, shouting, kicking cars, and now this guy's hugging him. And I think that's a bit more of what the world needs, especially in this day and age. And a bit more to yourself as well. Myself included. Pardon the pun. But yeah, that's all I really have to say for today. I hope you found some value in it. If there's any commentary or any objections, questions, anything that you want to say, please drop it in the comments below. This is why I've created this initiative. And I look forward to reading them. But yeah, that's all for now. The ambition for this is to have more people on, learn from more people, come out of the bedroom, talk in more depth, get more intricate. Who knows where it'll go. But for now, I've just done my little micro promise. And there's one little piece of evidence I can put in the book. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day.